What's up guys, I'm going to show you how to use one of these to test one of these. Let's go. Alright, so what we have here is a Cooler Master 600 watt power supply out of a computer. Now, I'm not sure how long this one's been sitting around for. There's a bit of dust inside it. I've blown a lot of it out, but what I want to do now is test to see if it actually works. So what I'm going to do to test that is use one of these power supply testers, which you can actually get off eBay for around $10, and that's also free shipping as well, so pretty cheap. And basically how that works is you plug in the plugs from the power supply unit into this unit, and it'll tell you what the voltage is like and if you've got any issues with that power supply. So let's try it out. Alright, so making sure that the power supply is in the off position, I'm going to plug this lead in. Now, when you normally turn on a power supply, it shouldn't do anything, right? So the reason for that is because it needs one of the wires in here to be triggered to actually switch that power supply on. So what I'm going to do is plug in the actual motherboard socket. This takes the full 24 pins, but obviously if you've only got a 20 pin power supply, you just plug those in accordingly. So we plug that in. Now that that's plugged in, what we also need to do, which you can find out if you turn it on, it wants to test the 12 volt rails. So it actually requires one of these 12 volt plugs to be put into the other side. So you want to make sure you use the correct connectors, because if you jam a 4 pin into a 6 pin one, you could short something out. What I'm going to use here is the 6 pin connector, which plugs in. So the 6 pin connector plugs in here, and now that that's plugged in, I can switch on the actual power supply, which will make it start up. In here it's going to give us some numbers. So what you can see here on the 12 volt rails, we've got 12 volts. Now at the 5 volt here we've got 5.1, so 3.3, it's actually looking quite good. And the power good, which is at 390 milliseconds. Now that'll come up with an error if there's an issue with the power supply as well. So far this is looking quite good. What I can also test as well is putting the SATA connector in the top, and you can see that those LEDs, they light up, showing that the 12, 3.3 and 5 volts is good. And we can also test other things like the connector you usually use on the floppy disk drive, and as you can see there, 5 volt good, 12 volt good. We've got a Molex plug on the bottom, so we can try that one out too, and we get the same result, 12 and 5 volt good as well. So if I was to take that 12 volt plug out on the side here, we'll actually see that the 12 volt rails now disappeared, because that's on this connector's rail, which you would normally plug into the side here. So if I wanted to, I can test the 4 pin plug, which goes in here where the 8 pin is, and as we can see there, the 12 volt rails come back again, so we're all good. So now I can switch that off, and now that we know that this power supply is good from using this tester, I can now use this power supply in a computer, or I can use it for something else. So for a $10 investment, this is quite worthwhile to have. This is just a cheap Chinese brand off eBay, so you don't need to go out there and spend a lot of money to get a good testing unit. So I recommend that if you're going to be requiring some testing of power supplies or doing a bit of work with computers, handy to have one of these hanging around, so go out and get one. I've got a bunch more power supplies to test, so I'm going to go and do that now. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Is it wants to so I'm going to go. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, hit that like button, or you can subscribe by hitting the button up here. Now I've also got a couple more videos up here on this side, And I've also got my cryptocurrency channel over here, so go check that out. But thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.